Dear students, it is the third video for week 12, lesson 24, and in this video we are going to talk about the natural hazards or the natural calamities or catastrophes which are expected to affect Pakistan in the next few years, and the economic impact of the disasters and the social impact of the natural disasters over the lives of the people in Pakistan. Dear students, in the second video, as we explained that naturally Pakistan is open to natural disasters, and the topography of Pakistan is so fragile that the natural disasters do happen frequently here. Furthermore, due to lack of resources, faulty infrastructure, mismanagement, improper policies, and corruption, the catastrophes and their impact is greater, and that cannot be reduced. Well, as we also expressed, I also explained that catastrophes and natural disasters have two developed theories. One is the divine theory that everything is in hand of the Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, and when the Almighty is resented, He orders the earth, and as punishment, these disasters in types of floods, earthquakes, wind and cyclone, they happen. And we have many examples elaborated in Bible and Holy Quran about these disasters. Well, the modern theories, they very different. According to modern theories, that the ecosystem or the natural order of the world has been disturbed, and the long share in the disturbance are the human beings themselves. Yes, in hidden words and openly, it is the global warming which is posing a serious threat to everything on the planet. Global warming is heating the earth temperature. It has chopped or weakened or fragile, has made the ozone layer fragile. Greenhouse effect is adding with the more temperature, and resultantly the set pattern of the climate is changing, and the climate hazards are happening rapidly, and that's the result that the glaciers are melting, earthquakes are frequent, windstorms are there clear, and then these havocs become uncontrolled. Fine. In other words, human beings are themselves the culprits. Over industrialization, more wish to industrialize the country, more revenue and income, especially the largest industrial societies like Americans, Brazilian, Chinese, Indians in some way, or Westerns, those who have planted their main factories and mills in the third world for the cheap labor, they are the real culprits. Although internationally G8 countries and United Nations is endeavoring, but that is simply a cry in the wilderness. No country is ready to pay heed to any voice raised at the different platforms. Well, in Pakistan, also the global warming plus the other contributions, like this area personally, this area is the house of the largest population. Then surrounding around the Pakistan is a war of weapons. There's these area also. India is an atomic power, China is atomic power, Russia is an atomic power. In Afghanistan, there have been more explosions. Clear, Pakistan itself is an atomic power, and resultantly more what we say uranium elements and more heat atomic radiation is adding. Well, deforestation is very frequent. Pakistan is lacking energy resources, and thereby the trees have been cut on the mountains, and resultantly the floods are frequent. Land erosion is making, and it is directly destroying the agriculture, which is the 60% of the total, almost 45 to 50% of the total income of the country. As we have expressed already in the previous videos, that agriculture is the backbone. Well, according to the NDMA, National Disaster Management Authority, Pakistan is expected to have the pandemic, the catastrophes like floods, hurricane, winds, droughts, pest attacks. They will be doubled in next 25 to 30 years. And the main reason is the environment, global warming, and also it will increase the landsliding in the fragile types of mountain range, deforestations, and these are the major issues where Pakistan is facing. Well, these are the prospects which have been expressed by the apprehensions expressed by the National Disaster Management. However, now we see that disasters have two-way effects. One is called economic effect, that when disasters happen, they destroy the infrastructure, they damage the mass mean people, they slow down the transportation, they reverse the balance of payment, they also congeal the movement of goods, mean exports and imports, and that's how the major sources of the country, mean the GDP, decrease. Fine. For instance, the disastrous catastrophes have greatly impacted on the income of the country. Mean right in 1998 to 2001, a severe drought hit the country, and the GDP growth of the country was reduced by 50%, because droughts mean it impacted on the agriculture. Well, in Kashmir earthquake 2005 and the flooding of 2010, earthquake in 2001 and flooding in 2012 reduced the GDP annually by 1.16%. Fine. And similarly, from 2006 to 2016, flooding and earthquake caused almost 4.5 US 4.5 billion US dollars to the loss of GDP in agriculture sector. Fine. So these are the huge losses that a country has to face, and the statistics are quite horrifying that in the upcoming years the policies of the government may greatly be affected by uh, these floods and others, and all the governments have to face these floods as the political uh, pressure also. The social impact of the disasters not just economically destroy the nation, but they also have the adverse effect on the human life. For example, the flooding of 2010 estimated that 18 million people were affected, 19 1,984 people died, 1,50,000 families were displaced, clear, and approximately 1.8 million houses damaged, 78 districts were directly hit, and out of 9,721 health facilities, about 515 house facilities, mean the dispensaries and hospitals, were reported to be destroyed. Clear? Similarly, the staff was reduced, and plus the uh, diseases also broke out, like during the same uh, years, like in 2010, the other diseases broke out in the country, like flooding, cases of Crimean Congo, fever, dengue, cholera, malaria, measles, polio, diarrhea, and other diseases also became frequent because the viral infection became common, and the mosquitoes and other things became a very easy carrier for taking these uh, disasters. Fine. So consequences and the statistics shared by National uh, Disaster Management Authority are very startling and disappointing, but uh, there is requirement of a proper policy to control these events or reduce their impacts. Thank you very much.